Hey everyone, welcome back. Have you ever thought Halloween night would just be fun and spooky until things went horribly wrong? Tonight, we're sharing two terrifying stories. Imagine clowns chasing you through a dark park, or a face watching you from theirs when you're all alone. What would you do if you felt something or someone lurking in your house? Would you confront it or lock yourself away in fear? Stick around and let us know in the comments. Have you ever had a Halloween encounter that still haunts you? Let's dive in. It was Halloween night in Ashbrook, Ohio, the kind of small town where everyone knew each other, and every house had a plastic skeleton swinging from the porch. I was out with my three best friends, Derek, Liam, and Mason. We were all 16, probably too old for trick-or-treating, but too stubborn to let go of the tradition. By 10:30 p.m., the streets had thinned out. Porch lights went dark, one by one, leaving behind eerie silhouettes of scarecrows and jack-o'-lanterns flickering in the wind. We were the only ones still out, our plastic pumpkin buckets half full, our legs aching, but our adrenaline still high. "We should hit the park," Mason suggested, flicking his flashlight on and off like a strobe. Still early, so we wandered toward Franklin Park, cutting through alleys and backyards, laughing, tossing shaving cream at each other, and spraying silly string like we were 10 again. The fog had started to roll in thick from the river. It hugged the streets and slithered around our ankles. That's when Liam froze. "Guys," he whispered, pointing down the road. Emerging from the shadows was a figure, tall, slow-moving, dressed in full clown attire, ripped red and white stripes, oversized shoes, a frilled collar, and a face painted into a twisted, unnatural grin. Its smile was wrong, stretched too far, as if carved. The four of us stopped cold. At first, we laughed thinking it was just some kid pulling a Halloween prank. But the clown didn't wave, didn't speak, just stared. Then, it took one slow, deliberate step forward, and another, closer, and closer. I swear to God, the temperature dropped 10 degrees. Mason was the first to mutter it. "That's not funny anymore." And deep down, we all felt the same thing, crawl up our spines. Something was off. Something was very wrong. We didn't run out yet. Just stood there, staring across the foggy road like deer caught in headlights. The clown stopped too, maybe 30 feet away now. It tilted its head slowly to the side, like it was studying us, measuring us. Then without warning, it raised one hand. In its gloved grip was something long, sharp, almost like a homemade spear. "What the hell is that?" Derek whispered, backing up. We turned and booked it toward the playground inside Franklin Park. The fog was thicker now, wrapping around the swings and slides like ghostly vines. When we got there, we realized we weren't the first. Shaving cream was smeared across the slide. Obscenities spray-painted on the wall of the public bathroom. Strands of silly string dangled like spider webs from the monkey bars. But we didn't get long to process it, because Mason pointed to the far end of the park and said, "Guys, there's two now." Sure enough, another clown had appeared. This one even taller, its makeup smeared across its face like it had been crying or bleeding. Its clothes were filthy, torn, soaked in something dark. And the first clown was now moving again, faster this time. "Are they running?" Liam asked, voice cracking. No one answered, because suddenly, both clowns broke into a sprint. That's when panic hit. No more pretending. No more jokes. We screamed and ran for our lives in 4 different directions, the sound of pounding feet echoing behind us. My lungs were burning. I didn't dare look back. I could hear the footsteps pounding behind me, slapping the pavement in uneven bursts. The sound of something metal dragging with each step. I sprinted down Oak Ridge Avenue, barely able to see through the fog and adrenaline. I didn't know the neighborhood that well, but I remembered Derek's house was somewhere past the gas station. That became my only goal. Get to safety, get to light, get to a door that locks. Halfway there, I turned a sharp corner, nothing behind me. Silence. I stopped, listened. Only my own ragged breathing. Had I lost them? I didn't wait to find out. I reached Derek's house in minutes, jumped the side gate, and collapsed into his backyard, hands on my knees, heart thundering. I grabbed my phone with shaking fingers and called him. He answered immediately, out of breath. "Ryan?" he panted. "I lost him too. I'm 2 blocks away. I'm heading back now." "Okay," I muttered, still staring at the darkened fence line. "Hurry." Next, I called Liam, then Mason. Liam answered. He was okay. He hadn't been chased, just hiding behind a dumpster. 10 minutes later, one by one, we all trickled into Derek's backyard. Clothes soaked in sweat, voices hoarse from screaming. We tried to laugh it off, say it was just a prank, some messed up Halloween stunt. But none of us really believed it. Because deep down, something about those clowns wasn't human. We stayed in Derek's backyard for a while, catching our breath under the dim porch light. The cold October air clung to our sweat, making us shiver as we picked through our bags of candy, trying to joke and pretend nothing had happened. Eventually Derek said, "Come on, let's just chill for a bit inside." His parents were gone for the weekend, something about a wedding in Michigan. The house was dark, quiet, the only light coming from the big flat screen in the living room. We crashed on the couches, turned on some party game on the Xbox, and tried to laugh again. For a moment, it felt normal, until Mason stood up. He walked over to the window that faced the backyard, squinting through the curtains. Then he ducked. "Turn off the television," he whispered sharply. "What? Why?" I asked, still holding the controller. "There's someone out there." The room went still. Derek grabbed the remote and killed the screen. Darkness swallowed the room. I moved to the window, despite Mason hissing, "Don't." But it was too late. I pulled the curtain back just a sliver, and saw him, the clown, standing dead center in the yard. He was closer than before, still, silent, and staring directly at me. My breath caught in my throat. I dropped the curtain. "He's back," I said flatly. This wasn't a game anymore. We bolted upstairs. No one spoke, no one argued. We just ran, slamming the bedroom door behind us and locking it. From Derek's second-floor window, we looked out over the yard. The clown was gone. Vanished. No rustling. No movement. No sign of anyone jumping the fence. Just darkness and silence. Liam whispered, "Maybe he left." But none of us believed that. We didn't go back downstairs. We didn't sleep. We just sat in that room, backs against the wall, lights off, trying not to breathe too loud. Eventually, the exhaustion set in. Our eyes grew heavy. At some point, we must have drifted off. It was Liam who found it the next morning. He stepped out into the backyard just as the sun started to rise and froze. Sitting right there on the patio table, placed perfectly in the center, like a centerpiece, was a single red rubber clown nose. Brand new, spotless, like it had been gently set there with purpose. Liam didn't touch it. None of us did. We just stood there, staring at it. No words, no theories, just this heavy silence pressing down on us. It wasn't a prank. It wasn't some harmless Halloween scare. It was a message. And it worked. Because from that day on, none of us went out on Halloween night again. Not once. Not ever. Halloween night in Brookhaven, Connecticut, was usually quiet, especially on Willow Lane, a dead-end street tucked behind a stretch of woods. By 9 p.m., most porch lights were off, and the trick-or-treaters had vanished into the cold October night. 15-year-old Tyler sat alone on the living room couch, a bowl of Butterfingers beside him, half watching a horror movie that didn't feel scary anymore. His parents had taken his twin little brothers out for their annual candy run, leaving him behind to hold down the fort and hand out candy, though barely anyone ever came. The house creaked with that old familiar groan, pipes, wind, just the usual. Until the doorbell rang. Tyler flinched. He hadn't heard it in over an hour. He grabbed the orange candy bowl and made his way to the front door. When he opened it, a lone figure stood beneath the porch light. Ghostface. Not the goofy knockoff. This one looked real. Tall. Silent. holding out a pillowcase in one hand like it had done this 100 times tonight. Tyler gave a small, awkward chuckle. Happy Halloween. He dropped a few Butterfingers into the bag. The figure didn't say a word, didn't nod, didn't even flinch. Then, without a sound, it turned and walked down the steps, slowly, deliberately, disappearing into the misty street. Tyler stood there for a moment, unsettled. Something about the way it moved wasn't normal. Not like a kid, not like an adult. Just off. He closed the door, locked it, and turned back toward the television. The movie had lost all meaning now. The candy didn't matter. The couch felt too big, too empty. The night wasn't over. And something felt wrong. Tyler tossed the candy bowl back on the table and sank into the couch, trying to shake the weird feeling. The television played quietly, but he wasn't really watching anymore. His mind kept drifting back to the Ghostface figure, the silence, the way it just lingered. Then a sound. Not from the television. From somewhere deeper in the house. Thud, followed by a soft bump. He muted the television and sat up straighter. The air inside the living room suddenly felt heavier, like the silence had teeth. He turned his head toward the back of the house, toward the kitchen. The hallway beyond it led to the den, and the back door. Something pulled him off the couch, a sense he couldn't explain. He crept down the hallway, his socked feet silent on the wood floor. The kitchen was empty, but then he saw it. The back door, wide open. His heart dropped. No breeze, no draft, just open. And he knew he hadn't locked it. A cold wave of nausea hit him as he stared at the dark doorway. The backyard beyond looked still, empty, but so did the street when Ghostface left. He called out, voice shaking. "Mom? Dad?" No answer. Then louder. "Braden? Dylan?" Nothing. The silence from that open door wasn't peaceful, it was watching him. Waiting. And Tyler knew someone had stepped inside. Tyler stood frozen in the kitchen, staring at the open back door like it might suddenly start breathing. The wind outside barely moved the leaves, but the stillness inside the house was unbearable thick, unnatural. His fingers trembled as he reached for the lock and shut the door. He clicked it closed, then slid the deadbolt. Too late, a voice whispered inside his mind. He turned back toward the living room. The muted television cast ghostly flashes across the walls, but it felt meaningless now. Every shadow twitched. Then another sound. Crack. Wood. From the hallway staircase that led to the den. The steps were old, carpeted, but the wood underneath always groaned under pressure. Tyler moved cautiously toward the living room, trying to stay in the light. He held his breath. Another creak. He dared to look toward the staircase. That's when he saw it. Just the top half of a face, barely peeking up from the dark stairwell. The Ghostface mask, motionless, stilted slightly, as if curious. It wasn't trying to come up. It was watching, waiting. Tyler blinked, hoping it was a shadow, an illusion, a cruel trick of light. But when he looked again, it was gone. He didn't hear it move, didn't hear a step, but the face had vanished into the darkness of the den. His knees nearly buckled. He ran, straight up the stairs, straight to his room, and locked the door like his life depended on it. Because maybe it did. Tyler slammed his bedroom door shut and turned the lock with a shaking hand. Then he backed away slowly until his legs hit the edge of the bed. The silence in the house was deafening now. No footsteps, no voices, just that awful, pressing stillness. He grabbed his phone and called his mom. It rang twice before she answered, her voice cheerful, filled with background chatter and Halloween giggles from his little brothers. "Hey, sweetie. Everything okay?" "No," Tyler whispered. "I think someone's in the house." The laughter on the other end stopped. "What?" "I forgot to lock the back door," he said. "And I heard someone. I saw someone on the basement stairs, wearing a ghost face mask. I think they came in." There was silence. Then her voice again, sharper now. "We're on our way home. Right now. Lock yourself in. Don't open the door for anyone. Not even us until I call. Tyler nodded, even though she couldn't see it. Okay. He hung up and sat on the floor, back against the wall, phone clutched to his chest. He watched the doorknob like it might start to turn on its own. Minutes passed. Nothing happened. No creaks, no footsteps, no breathing. But that made it worse, because it meant he could be anywhere now. The den, the hallway, right outside the door. Waiting, listening. Tyler pressed his ear to the wood. Still nothing. But deep in his chest, the dread kept building, like a scream trying to claw its way out. Tyler stayed by the door, still as stone. Every second crawled by like an hour. Then soft footsteps. Not stomping, not hurried. Just gentle pressure on the wood floor outside his room. He held his breath. The footsteps paused. Then a tap. Right on the door. 3 soft knocks. He almost screamed. His phone buzzed. "Mom," he answered in a whisper. "Are you here?" "We're pulling in now," she said. "Do not open the door until I come upstairs. You hear me?" He nodded furiously, barely getting out a yes. He heard the front door open downstairs. The rush of familiar voices. His dad calling his name. "No," Tyler whispered. "I think someone's in the house." The laughter on the other end stopped. "What?" "I forgot to lock the back door," he said. "And I heard someone. I saw someone on the basement stairs, wearing a ghost face mask. I think they came in." There was silence. Then her voice again, sharper now. "We're on our way home. Right now. Lock yourself in. Don't open the door for anyone. Not even us until I call." Tyler nodded, even though she couldn't see it. Okay. He hung up and sat on the floor, back against the wall, phone clutched to his chest. He watched the doorknob like it might start to turn on its own. Minutes passed. Nothing happened. No creaks, no footsteps, no breathing. But that made it worse, because it meant he could be anywhere now. The den, the hallway, right outside the door. Waiting, listening. Tyler pressed his ear to the wood. Still nothing. But deep in his chest, the dread kept building, like a scream trying to claw its way out. Tyler stayed by the door, still as stone. Every second crawled by like an hour. Then soft footsteps. Not stomping, not hurried. Just gentle pressure on the wood floor outside his room. He held his breath. The footsteps paused. Then a tap. Right on the door. 3 soft knocks. He almost screamed. His phone buzzed. "Mom," he answered in a whisper. "Are you here?" "We're pulling in now," she said. "Do not open the door until I come upstairs. You hear me?" He nodded furiously, barely getting out a yes. He heard the front door open downstairs. The rush of familiar voices. His dad calling his name. So, what would you do if you found yourself face to face with something like this on Halloween night? Have you ever had a creepy encounter that left you questioning what's real? Or maybe you've got your own terrifying story that you'd like us to share here? Let us know in the comments below. We might just tell your story in one of our next videos. If you enjoyed tonight's stories, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more spine-chilling tales. And hit that notification bell so you never miss out on the next one. Stay safe out there. And remember, sometimes it's the quietest nights that hold the most terrifying surprises.